Hello and welcome to the QSPlus demonstration. I'd like to get started by using the bill of quantities, clicking on our single section, the library button, which brings up the SMM7 library as you can see here. I'd like to go to D in groundwork, which is just by clicking on the plus on the left hand side, excavating and filling, some site preparation, and then I'd like to go to the clearing site vegetation. Over on the right hand side we have the contents of, and on this case it's clearing site vegetation because that's what we choose from our left hand side. I'd like to select that, click on save to list, and the rest, the principle is exactly the same. So I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker. Excavating, some trenches, maximum depth, save to list, some in situ concrete, some foundations generally, save to list, and then once I minimize these I can see my masonry. I'm going to choose a brick wall, common brickwork, walls, and choose a 1 brick thick. Now this is the point where I have decided that I finish my bill of quantity, so I'm going to choose save and hide, and now you can see everything is starting to come into our bills of quantity. This button here will expand every level, and as you can see we have our clearing site vegetation, the maximum depth of our trenches, the foundations, and the 1 brick thick. If we wanted to enter some dimensions into here, it's very easily done. Click on clearing site vegetation and the dims button at the top. Here we enter our dims. Let's say it's 30 by 50, and we can say OK. You'll notice that it's already calculated the quantity, but that was an adding dim slip. If we wanted to subtract on a dim slip as well, we can still do it. We just choose a new dim slip, change the plus to a minus. In this case we'll say 5 by 5. We can say OK, and you'll notice the total amount has changed on there. Trenches, click on dims. At this point you might want to use a side cast. If you do, you can double click on the dimension where you'll get a description that you can enter for your side cast. Let's call it 700 by 230 footing with 1 meter deep, and it's with 1 brick wall, 2 meters high. Okay, so now we've got the description in there, that's not a problem. And we put in our dimensions now, so our first wall 1 is 20, our next one 13 for wall 2, 5 for wall 3, and let's have 0.33 with 3 of them as a passing. At this point we choose insert to dim. Tells you that there is at least 1 empty dimension on the line, and we have to complete the second dimension. This is because we'll be working in meters cubed, so we have to enter on here, which we're going to say is 0.7 wide, and we'll have it with our 1 meter deep, and we're using side cast 1. Say OK. You'll notice it's automatically calculated the volume, and if you change any part of that side cast that is linked into it, the volume will change. We can do the same on our foundations here. We just double click. We've already got our side cast now, so we're just going to scroll back to our side cast 1 with our description, which is why it's important to put your descriptions in there. we're going to say insert to dim, and this will be 0.7 by 0.23, and we say using sidecast 1. Okay, and our 1 brick thick. We can do the same again by clicking on here, double click there, scroll back to our 1 meter deep with the 1 brick wall of 2 meters high, insert to dim, and this is just going to be by 1, and we say OK. At this point we'd like to have a look at what our bill of quantity looks like, so we go to bill production, print bills. From the print bills we can choose a tender document, which in this case we will. Open the bill of quantities. It automatically creates it for you, and within here you can see the setup at the beginning. We now have D groundwork, given our meters squares and our trenches. We've got our foundations in there, our 1 brick thick, and at the end we've got a summary. Obviously this is a tender document, so we don't have any amounts in here at the moment. Should we have put in our rates and our bill of quantity, we could have produced a QS document which would have allowed it to happen. So if we close this, come back to our bill production, bill tree, expand all the sections, and in here we're going to put in some rates in here. Now we can go back to print bills. We can go to the print selections and choose a QS document, bills, open the bill of quantities, and if we scroll back from the summary here, we can now see all of our figures have actually been carried through.